Hello, Sagittarius. Thank you for tuning in to this week's read. For the main part of the read, I'm using Tarot Illuminati by Eric C. Dunn. For supportive oracle cards, the Spirit Animal Oracle by Colette Baron Reed. Okay. Already shuffled. Okay, I think we're good. Sagittarius. Coming in with the Bobcat energy. It says, life is a mystery. Bobcats, from what I understand of them, and there's supposed to be some in the area that I live, I've just never really seen one. But that's part of it, though. I feel like they don't like to be seen. But I feel like they're very active, but they stay out of the way of people. They don't want their presence to be known, but they seem to thrive in the shadows a little bit, which is not negative in my opinion. But this is how you're attracting this situation. Are you attracting it or a part of it? It could be either or. Either attracting it or being a part of it. Like you're working behind the scenes. You keep things quiet. Whatever you're doing, you're like, yeah, I'm doing that, but I don't really need people knowing I'm doing that. You're involved in something that's just kind of like, this is my business, or this needs to stay very quiet that this is going on. It's like you might be helping somebody out, but it's very private. And you're just like, you don't really talk about it with anybody else. It's just something that needs to be done, kept under wraps. And the next piece coming in is like, it seems to get a little bit more involved. When I'm getting the dolphin, I always associate dolphin with love. Some of these cards are just, that's what I associate them with. This says this and that are true. I feel like what it's saying is that there's a little bit of smoke and mirrors going on here. Like you're involved with something. People know you're connected after a while, but they probably don't know how involved you are with the situation. But with the Three of Pentacles, you're getting really more involved than I feel like you expected. I don't think that's odd for Sagittarius. I just feel like you start getting involved, and then before you know it, you're knee-deep in the situation, and you're just like, yep, this is my life. It just seems like that's what happens, stereotypically. Okay, so that's where we are with that. There's not a lot of energy with that. So the entering part here, it just seems like, yeah, that's what it is. It doesn't seem like there's much to say about it. Now, whatever the situation is, it has to change. But when I say that, it's kind of like the situation itself is going through a change. Stag with giraffe and literally the death card right on top of it. All this is coming in together, telling me there's a big change. Something's ending, something new's beginning. A bigger picture coming into focus. What's the last one? The stag. Somebody else might be taking over your position. I don't see this being a problem, though. So somebody else might be stepping in and taking over what you've been doing. You've got the Nine of Cups. Nope, Nine of Pentacles. You seem to be okay with this. It seems to be fine. You're happy with what you've been doing. You're happy that somebody else is coming forward and doing what they need to do. There's definitely a change here. The situation may be completing, but I feel like for the majority of you, somebody else is taking over. Somebody else is taking the reins. It's kind of like, all right, you took your turn, now somebody else is taking their turn, something like that, and you're fine with it. It's like not a bad thing at all. You don't completely step out of it, though. You don't completely step out of it. I'm getting you're helping with the details. It's almost like I feel like this is like maybe you were doing. I'm doing the Thanksgiving dinner thing again. Like you had been doing Thanksgiving dinner on your own. Somebody else took it over. But when I'm saying you're not getting completely out of it, like somebody else might take over doing Thanksgiving dinner, but you're like, okay, do you need somebody to help you set things up? Do you need somebody to help you take things in and out of the kitchen? You know, you're supporting where necessary. That's what I'm getting with the small things. So it doesn't have to literally be Thanksgiving dinner, obviously, or like a big dinner. But it's kind of like you're supporting, you're offering your help, you're keeping the things going. The situation with the canary, I feel like there's a lot of harmony with that. Is that a singing card? Sing your own song. But I feel like you're helping somebody else sing their song while you're also singing your own song. It's like these melodies match. Like your melody and their melody kind of match, so they go along together. They're taking over the main part at this point, and you're just supporting, making sure it does work out. Not taking over. It's not like you have to be there, but it's kind of like when you are there, you're like, oh, okay, do you need somebody to bring out plates? I can do that. It's not a big deal. Need somebody to help you carry things in and out of the kitchen? I can do that. Not a big deal. Guys, come on. Okay. Excuse me. The cats and the dog. The cat and the dog like to argue, and that's basically what that is. Nobody's getting hurt. It's just arguing. That's all. What I'm getting here, what comes in next? Things are going well. Things are going well. Somebody is kind of impressing their rule on the situation. That's what I'm getting with the Hierophant. Somebody else is defining what's going to happen here. Somebody else is getting very... like they're micromanaging, they're controlling the situation. They seem to take more control with the situation. This seems to be your point where you've already done what you needed to do. You've already done what you need to do with the situation. You don't need to be a part of it going forward. When these more strict rules seem to come in and push in, I don't feel you as connected. Like, it's just kind of like, if needed, you'll help out, but I don't feel like you're really there. You're still around, though. You're getting along with this situation, but I feel like the reason it's the King of Cups is because you've already done your part. You don't need to be in it anymore. And the fact that it's getting more strict is fine because it's not what you're not dealing with it directly. It's changing. The situation is changing. It's getting more rigid. But it's like, it doesn't bother you. It's kind of like, well, when I did what I had to do, I had control of it. And now that I'm not a part of it, it's more rigid, but I don't have to deal with that. And there's reasons why it's more rigid now. It's almost like you're looking at it from the outside, kind of like, well, when I was doing it, it didn't need to be that rigid because I was taking care of all these things. Somebody's doing it differently now and adding different people into it for it to work out correctly with the people they've added. It kind of does need to be a little bit more rigid to keep it on point, to keep it in line. So you understand why it's more rigid. You don't seem to be upset about it at all. But you're like stepping back, like, okay, let's let them do that then. It's too many rules. It's just, I think it's a little bit overdone, but for the people involved, that may be necessary. So far so good. How is this ending? There's a lot of work going on in this situation, and I see you just going into a complete supportive role, but it's like, it reminds me of like a mother waiting over to the side, letting their child learn to walk, and like she lets that happen. She lets the bumps and bruises happen to a point. Like if they're walking around the couch, for example, and there's like they're walking on the rug, you don't want your child to fall, but you're like, well, it shouldn't be that bad if they fall. Yeah, if they start going towards the hardwood floors, or they start walking near the entrance to the stairs, the mom would be like, oh no, no, get back on the rug. We're staying on the rug. Like, you know what I'm saying? A mom would be like, listen, we can test it over here. There's a little protection. I'm not going to let you walk near the stairs because if you get a little bit too curious, you could possibly tumble down the stairs, and we don't want that level of devastation with this. That's kind of what I'm feeling. This is how you're going into this next part. Kind of like you're watching. You've got the hawk spirit. You're watching. But you're not getting involved unless you think there could be some type of mishap. Kind of like, okay, there's bumps, there's bruises, people are making mistakes, things are falling through the cracks, they're picking that up, they're figuring it out. It's kind of like the little child walking on the rug, holding onto the couch. If they fall, shouldn't be that bad. But like if they start, toddling over near to the stairs, the mom comes over and goes, oh no, we're not going near the stairs. No. We're not going to take a chance of that type of devastation. That's basically what you're doing. Keeping an eye out. Gets a little bit hairy, scary. You're like, oh no, let's reel that in. Let's pull that back a little bit. Come on. Let's go back over here. And you help out when it gets like that. Kind of like, we're not going to let it go crazy here. You seem to be working in conjunction with this person who's very rigid. But again, as a support, just kind of like, you're getting a little out of balance here. Like you're just kind of like giving helpful hints for the most part. You don't want control of this, is what I'm also getting. You don't want control of it. So, helpful hints, though. Like, oh, that could be a problem. Oh, I've had that problem myself before. I'm just letting you know what I see. The energy seems fairly, I want to say jovial. I never use that word. So, why ever? Jovial is the word coming out of my face. So, there you go. The sandpiper is playful, but it can be a little bit of a, I feel like can be a little bit annoying, but it can be a little bit playful. It can be a little bit aggravating, but it can be a little bit fun if it's taken in the right way. It seems like it's one of those weird energies to me. Depends how the energy around it is going. If there's a positive energy when this sandpiper comes in, it could be good. If there's a negative energy, it can be seen in a different light. It's kind of one of those. It's kind of fickle. I feel like the sandpiper energy is a little fickle, which basically makes me feel like when you're dealing with this rigid energy, depending on the day, some days it's kind of like, yeah, that's how they are, it's fine. Other days it's kind of like, oh, for the love of Pete. It's going to kind of ebb and flow a little bit. The ant is telling me there's constant work. The ants all work together. There's a queen who directs how things go, but I'm noticing the dogs are barking at this point too. Which tells me there might be a little bit of infighting. Not a lot, but a little bit of infighting. Guys! Balancing it out, staying in connection with the situation, but not taking it back over. I feel like that's what we're talking about. I feel like for this situation, for it to continue to go well, guys! For it to continue to go well, you want to stay at arm's length, but you want to keep an eye on it. And I feel like this situation does matter to you enough to where you want to ensure it has as much success as you can without being directly in it. Just keep an eye on it. This should be a situation where even if you check in every, like once a week, 1 week and a half maybe, depending how life is going for you, that should be enough to where if things start to slide a little bit, you can step back in and give some advice or try to help out if necessary. It should not be holding you down. That high priestess is somebody who pays attention and just, they do with what they can. Like, they see the situation for the truth of it. This part's good, that part's bad, that melds together to make everything come together. A little bit of sweet, a little bit of bitter, but it comes together very nicely. And just tries to be objective about it. For the situation, just, again, stay on the outside, but stay close enough so you can regulate it. Okay, I think we're good. All right, I'm going to shut this down here. I hope that helps. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to have a direct reading from me, shoot me an email, jamesforastral@gmail.com. That's James, the number 4, astral@gmail.com. Thank you.